At 83, Harrison Ford finally tells the truth about Carrie Fisher. Harrison Ford was born on July 13, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. He is one of the most famous and long-lasting stars in Hollywood history. He grew up in a regular family. His mom, Dorothy, stayed home and used to act on the radio. His dad, Christopher, worked in advertising and used to be an actor, too. His family came from Ireland, Germany, and was also Jewish. This mix gave him a strong sense of who he was, which later helped him play tough, real characters in movies. He had trouble in school and wasn't very good at studying. But in college, at Ripon College in Wisconsin, he took one drama class that made him curious about acting. This new love gave him the courage to move to Los Angeles in the mid-1960s. There, he signed a deal with Columbia Pictures and began his slow, hard climb in the movie business. Ford's early years in Hollywood were not fancy or glamorous. He got small parts in movies and TV shows that often didn't even mention his name. He worked really hard while also working as a carpenter to make money for his young family. What makes his story so cool is that during these tough years, Ford never gave up and kept working to get better at acting. Then something lucky happened when he met filmmaker George Lucas, who gave him a small role in American Graffiti in 1973. This little chance became the door to his future because it introduced him to Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola's group of creative friends. It also set him up for the role that would change his life forever. In 1977, Harrison Ford became super famous when he played Han Solo in George Lucas's Star Wars Episode IV, A New Hope. With his sarcastic jokes, amazing charm, and wild bravery, Ford brought the character to life. He turned Han Solo into one of the most loved movie characters ever. The success of Star Wars not only made him famous everywhere, but also showed his special ability to mix bad boy coolness with a soft, caring side underneath. The next movies, The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 and Return of the Jedi in 1983, made sure he became a worldwide superstar and one of the most important faces of the Star Wars movies. Even as Star Wars made him famous around the world, Harrison Ford grew his career even more by working with another legendary filmmaker, Steven Spielberg, to create another famous character, Indiana Jones. Starting in Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981, Ford's playing of the adventure-loving archaeologist with a whip and hat added a new side to his career. Indiana Jones became the perfect example of classic Hollywood heroism, part daring, part smart, and part flawed, which people of all ages loved. More movies like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in 1984, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in 1989, and later Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in 2008, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in 2023, made sure that Ford would stay important to many different generations. Besides his big blockbuster roles, Ford has also proven himself to be a really good actor who can play many different types of characters with amazing dramatic skills. He gave a hauntingly deep performance as Rick Deckard in Ridley Scott's Blade Runner in 1982. This movie, while people didn't agree about it at first, became one of the most influential science fiction movies in history. He also gave powerful performances in movies that critics loved, like Witness in 1985, for which he got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor. The Fugitive in 1993, which became a huge commercial success and won multiple awards, and Clear and Present Danger in 1994, where he played the complicated character of Jack Ryan. These roles showed that Ford was not only a blockbuster action hero, but also a serious actor who could show depth, subtlety, and emotional connection. Besides his movie career, Harrison Ford has been known for his personal honesty, humility, and helping others. Despite his huge fame, he has lived mostly away from the Hollywood spotlight, preferring privacy and a simple life. He has spent much of his time helping environmental causes, especially in his work with Conservation International, where he has served on the board and actively spoken out about climate change and the need to protect nature's variety. He is also a skilled pilot, often using his flying skills to help in rescue missions and humanitarian efforts, proving even more that his heroism goes far beyond the movie screen. As he has gotten older, Ford has continued to embrace his legacy while still challenging himself with new roles. What makes his career amazing is not just the famous characters he has played, but how consistently he has stayed important in an always changing industry. Even well into his 80s, Ford has continued to work with energy and passion, playing roles like Han Solo again in Star Wars, The Force Awakens in 2015, and returning to the world of Blade Runner in Blade Runner 2049 in 2017. Much to the delight of fans, Harrison Ford's personal life has been as exciting and active as his work career, marked by 3 marriages, 5 children, and a life balanced between Hollywood success and quieter family moments. His journey through relationships shows not only the passing of time, but also the growth of a man who managed to stay both one of the most money-making stars in movies and a father devoted to his children. Ford's first marriage was to Mary Marquardt, a college girlfriend whom he married in 1964, long before his breakthrough role as Han Solo in Star Wars. Their marriage lasted until 1979, a span of 15 years during which Ford was still struggling to find his place in the entertainment industry before finally becoming a household name. Together they had 2 sons. Their first, Benjamin, was born in 1966, and their second, Willard, arrived in 1969. While their marriage ended in divorce, both sons went on to build lives that show their own business spirits independent of their father's fame. Benjamin Ford, the older of the 2, put his creativity and hard work into cooking. He became a respected chef and restaurant owner, co-owning Ford's Filling Station, a gastropub that became well known for its creative food and welcoming feeling. One of its locations was inside Terminal 5 at Los Angeles International Airport, giving travelers a unique dining experience connected to the Ford family name. Benjamin's career shows a passion for food and hospitality that mirrors in its own way his father's dedication to his craft. Willard Ford, the younger son, took a different path, proving himself to be a versatile businessman. He became the owner of the Ludwig Clothing Company, a brand that made its own identity in the fashion world. Before this, Willard showed a varied business vision by previously running Strong Sports Gym, a fitness-oriented business, as well as the Kim Sing Theater, a historic Los Angeles venue that he helped transform into a multi-purpose event space. His businesses show an adventurous spirit not unlike his father's on-screen characters, though expressed in business and culture rather than movies. Ford's second marriage was to acclaimed screenwriter Melissa Mathison, best known for writing the screenplay of Steven Spielberg's beloved classic E.T. the Extraterrestrial. They were married in March 1983, a union that lasted nearly 2 decades until their separation in 2000 and eventual divorce in 2004. Together they had 2 children, a son Malcolm, born in 1987, and a daughter Georgia, born in 1990. Their family life happened during some of Ford's busiest years as an actor, but he stayed committed to being a father. Malcolm would later pursue a career in music while Georgia explored creative pursuits of her own, continuing the artistic legacy passed down from both parents. Sadly, Melissa Mathison passed away in 2015, a loss deeply felt by Ford, who always spoke of her with respect for her talent and the years they shared together. In 2002, Harrison Ford entered a new chapter of his life when he met actress Callista Flockhart at the Golden Globe Awards. Flockhart, already well known for her role in the television series Ally McBeal, and Ford formed a relationship that quickly became one of Hollywood's most lasting love stories. After several years together, Ford proposed to her over Valentine's Day weekend in 2009, showing his romantic side despite his often rugged, quiet public image. The couple married on June 15, 2010 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where Ford was filming the science fiction western Cowboys and Aliens. Their marriage brought both companionship and fatherhood again, as Flockhart had adopted a son Liam in 2001 before meeting him. Ford embraced the role of Liam's father wholeheartedly, raising him as his own. Today, Ford and Flockhart divide their time between Los Angeles and Wyoming, though their heart seems firmly rooted in the wide-open spaces of the American West. They live on a huge 800-acre ranch in Jackson, Wyoming, a property Ford has owned since the 1980s. His deep connection to the land and his passion for protecting nature led him to donate about half of the ranch as a nature reserve, making sure that the beautiful wilderness would be preserved for future generations. The ranch gives the couple privacy and a getaway from the busy life of Hollywood, while their base in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles allows them to stay connected to the industry when needed. This balance of lifestyles, Hollywood glamour, and rugged outdoor living perfectly shows Ford's dual nature as both a famous movie star and a man deeply connected to family, nature, and a quieter life. At 83 years old, Harrison Ford has reached a point in his life and career where looking back feels not only natural, but inevitable. Over the decades, he has built a reputation as a deeply private man, rarely revealing much about his personal thoughts or experiences outside of the films that made him a cultural icon. But recently, Ford surprised many fans and admirers by addressing one of the most talked-about aspects of his past: his relationship with his Star Wars co-star, the late Carrie Fisher. For years, rumors and half-revealed stories went around about the bond between Ford and Fisher, both on-screen as Han Solo and Princess Leia, and off-screen as two young actors dealing with the whirlwind of sudden fame. Now, with time having softened old boundaries, Ford has decided to speak honestly about what really happened between them and what she meant to him. In his own words, Ford explained, "Carrie was unlike anyone I had ever met before. She was funny, sharp, and unafraid to speak her mind. I admired that about her from the very beginning." His thinking reveals the depth of admiration he held for Fisher, which went far beyond the chemistry that audiences saw in Star Wars. While fans often assumed their banter and magnetism on screen were carefully written, Ford insists much of it came naturally because of the unique spark Fisher brought to their interactions. He continued, "Our connection was real. You couldn't fake that kind of energy. She had this way of making you feel seen, and she was never intimidated by me, by the fame, or by the pressures we were under." When asked directly about the long-rumored affair that Fisher herself revealed in her 2016 book, The Princess Diarist, Ford was thoughtful. He did not deny what she had written, nor did he dismiss it as a passing memory. Instead, he admitted, yes, what Carrie wrote was true. We were both caught up in a moment. It wasn't planned, and it wasn't something either of us talked about at length afterward. But it happened, and it was real for what it was. His admission, spoken with the seriousness of age, sheds new light on a relationship that has fascinated fans for decades. It wasn't scandalous or trashy, Ford emphasizes. It was simply a deeply human connection born out of two young actors finding comfort in each other during an extraordinary and chaotic time. Ford also shared how difficult it was for him when Fisher passed away in December 2016. Losing Carrie was like losing a part of the Star Wars family, but also like losing a piece of my own life. She was so much more than Princess Leia. She was a writer, a fighter, and a friend. She was complicated in the best way, and she made me laugh more than anyone else on those sets. His voice reportedly cracked when he spoke about the last time he saw her, admitting that there were many things left unsaid. I never told her enough how much I respected her. I don't think I told her enough how much I loved working with her. Sometimes you assume there will always be more time, and then there isn't. Even now at 83, Ford thinks about the impact Fisher left on his life. Carrie taught me that it's okay to be vulnerable, that humor can get you through the darkest moments. She faced her struggles with such honesty and bravery. I admired her for being so open about her battles with mental health and addiction long before it was something people talked about publicly. That took courage. His words serve as both a tribute and an acknowledgement of Fisher's legacy beyond her famous film role. Ford also stressed that their bond, while personal, ultimately became part of a greater cultural story. People saw Han and Leia and thought it was all fantasy, but in a way, it was rooted in truth. We really did care about each other. That connection bled into the characters, and I think that's why people believed in them so strongly. He added that even though their personal relationship was short-lived, the respect and affection between them lasted for decades. Looking back now, Ford is not interested in sensationalism or rewriting the past to create drama. Instead, his focus is on honoring Fisher for the extraordinary person she was. Carrie didn't belong to me. She belonged to the world, and the world was lucky to have her. His words, both tender and bittersweet, remind fans that behind the Hollywood mystique were two real people whose lives intertwined in ways both fleeting and profound. For Ford, telling the truth about Carrie Fisher at 83 is not about scandal or confession. It is about closure, respect, and love. It is about acknowledging that even the most legendary of actors are at their core simply human beings who stumble into unexpected connections and carry them for a lifetime. And in speaking openly, Ford offers fans a final glimpse into one of Hollywood's most lasting and touching relationships.